We have boots on the ground everywhere. And with our sister churches, we minister in every part of our society. We have the chance to be salt and light in every place. What kind of church are we called to be? The answer is very simple. We are called to be like Jesus. We are called to be the church of the Beatitudes, poor in spirit, not full of ourselves and our own achievements, but full of our need of God. We are called to be a church which mourns, a church of compassion for the great suffering in our world. A church which is meek, prepared to serve, to roll up our sleeves, to encourage others, to work in partnership. A church which is hungry and thirsty for justice here and in all God's world. The call to be a church full of mercy, where each and every person finds love before judgment and kindness before criticism. We are called to be pure in heart and mind and speech, devoted to God and striving to be holy. We are called to be peacemakers. We are not to be people who smother conflict or avoid it, but we are to be people who recognize difference and still make peace. And we are called to be so different and so distinctive as a community that we will sometimes be persecuted for righteousness' sake. People will want to get rid of us or silence us because the good news we bring makes us uncomfortable. And when that happens, we are to rejoice. The Christian church is the community called into being like Jesus. It began with the first disciples, and for 2,000 years now, the risen Jesus has been creating the church afresh in every generation, calling people to be part of his community, and he is calling them today. We're called into being like Jesus, and we are called to be like him. It's a big call and a holy one. It's not very far in miles from where I was born, in Halifax, to this diocese of Sheffield. But I feel as though I have been on something of a long journey to discover what the church is called to be. It's been a journey of discovery in parish ministry at Enfield and also back in Halifax. It's been a journey of discovery as I helped to train clergy of every tradition through my years in Durham. And it's been a literal journey of many thousands of miles over the last 5 years as I've worked with many fresh expressions of church which God is bringing to birth through this country in every part of his church here. And coming back to Yorkshire, it does feel really and truthfully like coming home. But I'm coming home with this simple conclusion and this simple message. The church in the 21st century has to learn to be like Jesus again. We are called to be like him. We need to become Christ-like Christians, as the first disciples were. We're called to see the world as Jesus sees our world, through eyes of hope and potential and compassion and creativity. We're called to do exactly what Jesus does, to pray and work to see God's kingdom come and grow the Christian community in every part of our society. We're called to stay rooted in the life of Jesus through the scriptures and the sacraments, through prayer and fellowship. And we're called to become again the people of Jesus as we live the gospel and carry this great good news to all the world. I'm very honoured that I can say, really, by the trust placed in me in this call to be Bishop of Sheffield. And I am more daunted than I can describe by the responsibilities and the challenges before me. I know full well, you will be pleased to learn, that the task is impossible in my own strength. And I know full well that I will need to work closely and fully with all people of goodwill, with the whole people of God, with our sister churches, and with all ministers of the gospel in particular, as we seek to build God's kingdom and grow God's church in this diocese. But I know also, for me and for you, that those whom God calls, he also equips and sustains. And I hope and pray that every person in this wonderful cathedral, and every person who hears or reads these words or who has them signed to them, every person will be drawn by the living Christ to share in some way in God's mission, to bring hope and healing and health and salvation to the communities we serve. May each of us see the world as Jesus sees it. And may all of us together become the people who reflect the character of Christ in the world God created. Amen.